Okay, graphing solutions. So we need to move our y alone here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the 2y. I'm going to move the x stuff over. So now if I move it, it changes. And then there's a plus 10 because it stays. And then I need y alone, so I'm still going to divide by 2. Alright, so I'm going to let my calculator do this for me. Some of you, if you want from last year, can do it by hand. So y equals, I'm going to go bracket negative 6x plus 10 bracket divide by 2. Okay, I'm letting my calculator do all that division for me, but I make sure I put that in brackets, right? That'd be important. Okay, I'm going to zoom 6 this to reset the window, a 10 by 10. And that's what I'm getting. So I'm going to trace 0. 0, 5 is a point I'm going to go with. 1, 2, I traced and I hit 1, enter. 1, 2 is a point. Okay. When I draw this, now I have to decide if I want a solid or a dashed line. So this says I can be equal to it. I'm allowed to be equal, so I'm going to draw a solid line. So that's what the line looks like. And then I need to be greater. So which of the two sides do I pick that angles in the upward direction? This. Okay, next one. Okay, I'm going to keep negative 2y. That will have to move. So 2x plus 14. And then I'm still going to have to divide by a negative 2. Okay, what happens in the math when you divide by a negative? Remember what happens? Something you have to remember. It flip-flops the sign direction, right? Remember that rule? Okay, so this is what I'm typing into my calculator. I'm letting it do that division for me. So brackets. Okay, are we looking the same? Looks good. I'm going to go trace 0, enter. 0, negative 7. Okay, you can pick any other point. I'm going to maybe try to find one of these points. So maybe like a negative 4. You can find any point you want, but negative 4, negative 3. If you found a different point, that's great, as long as obviously ours are lining up in the same line. Okay, before I draw this, I'm going to ask solid or dashed. So this one is dashed. And which side am I going to pick? So now this is the less than side, so I'm under it. But that's not the appropriate answer because there's something else going on here. It says that x and y can only be integers, so instead of the shading, I'm just going to show you that in this zone, I'm only picking the integers. So I'm going to stipple it, and obviously I'm not going to spend my entire day doing every single point, but that shows you I'm only picking the integers in that region. Okay, so I better see either full out shading for real or dots for integers or whole numbers, whatever you got. Okay, graphing a system. Okay, so this one, I'm going to go 2y, keep the y, move the x, so negative 3x minus 2. And then I'm going to divide by 2. Okay, again, I'm letting my calculator do that for me, so I'm typing it in brackets divided by 2. Okay, I'm going to trace 0, negative 1, that's a point. I'm going to trace, I can go 1, I don't like that. 2, negative 4, I like that point. 2, negative 4, I can graph that point. So I'm going to create a line through the 2 points. So this says I can be equal, so I'm solid. And the greater than side, you got to pick the side that's greater. So which side would angle upward? Whichever side angles upward. Okay, I'm not shading it because it's not my answer yet. Okay, we got to do this line now. So 2y less than or equal to, move the x, so negative x plus 2, move the x, divide by 2. So here's my equation in my calculator. Brackets, negative x plus 2, divided by 2. Graph. Trace. I got a 0, 1 as a point on it. One, oh, that's a fraction. Oh, there we go. 2, 0. I like that point. 2, 0. So there's 2 points, and I'm going to draw the line through it. So it is solid. Solid line. And that I need to be less than, so you have to make sure you're below. So now this region in here is going to work, but it says that I can only pick integers again. I can only pick integer numbers, so I'm going to show you the region that works. So in that region, and the integer numbers in that region are going to work. Okay, last one. So here I'm going to go y is less than. Okay, I'm moving the x, so negative 4x. I moved the x. Negative 4x plus 2, graphing, trace some points. So I got 0, 2 on that. Trace, I've tried 1. 1, negative 2 is a point. That's good. Again, you can pick a bunch of ones. Solid or dashed is what you need to think about next. So this is dashed. Okay, less than, so which side angles downward? That would be the side that angles in a downward direction, less. Okay, then we have y is greater than negative 2. So when you only have one variable, it's either a flat or up and down line. So which one is this one? When y is always something, that's a flat line. Okay, so flat at negative 2, and I'm dashed. So a horizontal line at negative 2. Okay, that one you actually could have also done in your calculator, but the other style you couldn't have. The X line, you can't do that one in your calculator, so that one's a straight up and down. And we have to be bigger than that, so I'm going to point my arrows going above it. And then this one, I'm allowed to be all real numbers, so anything in the zone. So this is the zone that works, and I can be anything in that zone. Okay, is this point a solution to this? Okay, so when we talk about coordinate points, do we understand x is first, y is second? So I'm going to replace. So 11 greater than negative 3 plus 8. So this one was a little bit weird because of the negative sign and then another negative sign. I think that was how they were trying to kind of trick you. Do we know what that does in math? When you have a negative of a negative, it turns positive. what do you think? Is 11 greater than 11? No, that's not. Okay, next. Okay, so 3x is going to be a 1 minus 2y gets replaced with a 5. Okay, so this, you can do this in your calculator, whatever, but I'm going to do it in my head here. 3 minus 10, so 3 subtract 10 is negative 7. And what do we think about that? Is negative 7 less than or equal to negative 4? Yep, it's lower than it. So, yep. Okay, the last one here is 0, 0, a solution. So 2 times 0 minus 7 times 0. Okay, all that will end up being 0. What do we think? Is 0 greater than or equal to 14? No, that's not true. So that's a no. Okay, I asked students to tell me this. I said, just like we did last time, is the point 3 comma half a solution? And then they plugged in the 3, they plugged in the half, and then they said, well, yeah, 2.5 is less than 14, so it is a solution. Okay, but this is not correct. Where is their mistake? Can anybody figure out what their mistake would be? Why is this point actually not a solution? What does this say to you? What does that mean? X and Y have to be integer numbers. What kind of Y value do I have there? A half. 1/2 for a Y value is not an integer. So therefore, it can't even be a solution before I even do the math on it. I can't pick it. Okay, I can't have decimals or fractions because that's not an integer. Okay, visually, let's see if these are solutions. So 2, -3. So 2, -3. Is it a solution? Is it in the solution zone? Yep, that's going to be good. It works? Yes. 1, 1. 1, 1 is right there, and it looks like it's falling right on that line. Is it a solution or not? No, because this line is dashed. If it was a solid line, yep. If it's a dashed line, you can't be on that line. And then is 1, 4 a solution? So 1, 4 is over here. And that is a no. Okay, I don't think I'm going to ask you to do this question. Okay, a fruit farm is planting apple trees and strawberries. They can't have any more than 20 acres altogether. Okay, so let's go with an A and an S for our variables. Okay, ready? I'm going to write something for this. They can't use any more than 20 acres. So what are we going to write? The apples plus the strawberry acres, they can't have any more than 20. So did you pick a less than or equal to symbol? Less than or equal to it is fine. Okay, the next sentence, when you read the at least 3 times as many, your brain has to kind of go backwards. So they want at least 3 times as many acres for strawberries as they do for apples. So when you read it, the 3 has to go on the opposite thing. The strawberries are tripled the apples. Does that make sense? Because you want 3 times as many strawberries, so the strawberries are going to equal 3 times the apples. Strawberries are 3 times the apples, but let's put a symbol in here. They want at least, so when I write at least something, I'm going to be greater or equal to it. At least that, or more. Okay, let's talk about the money per strawberries. They get 23 tons per acre. And then they're going to make this much per ton. So how much money do they get for each? Okay, can you do the same thing for apples? So we had 15 tons, and each ton is 1,800. Okay, so therefore our revenue will be $97,750 per strawberry acre plus $27,000 per apple acre. Okay, now we're going to graph this. Okay, on my axes, I am going to pick a certain one here. I'm going to make this my y, specifically because I like my y equals something. So that's why I'm picking the strawberries as my y. So therefore my apples will be my x. Okay, so if I'm going to do this in my calculator, I'm going to go S. I'm going to move the A. This is what I'm doing. I'm lining it up to go into my calculator. Okay, I also know that if I took my turns covering them up, they would each have an intercept at 20. Okay, so I do know that line before I go into my calculator, but we can work on doing it in our calculator as well. So I do know that that will be the line, but we'll put it in our calculator just to see some stuff. So negative x plus 20 okay, when I go to graph this 20 is going to mean I'm going to probably want to change my window. So I'm going to go up to 30. I'm going to go up to 30. So here you can see 0, 20, right? That was that point that I already picked. Okay, now I'm going to do the other one. So y equals, in my calculator, this is what I'm typing into my calculator. Y equals 3x. So I'm going to go trace. Okay, I'm going to hit the up arrow because it makes me jump my line. And then what do we want to do here? 5 comma or okay, well 0, oops. 0, 0 will be on that line. So 0, 0 is on that line. 1 comma 3, 2 comma 6, 3 comma 9. So I don't know what you want to use to graph it. 5 comma 15. I like that one, 5 comma 15, because I went up by 5, so that helps. Okay, let's get this intersection point because we have it on our calculator. So second calculate intersection, and then we just go enter, enter, enter. And it was right there. Five comma 15. Okay, we want it to be, let's talk about our lines. Less than that line. So that first line, we want it to be below it. And then the second line, we want it to be above it. So this is my zone. And this is acres, so you can have decimal acres. That's okay. If we talked about our restrictions, all we would need is that they have to be above or equal to 0, but they can be decimals. Okay, so here's the 3 coordinates that make my zone. What's the max revenue? So let's figure out which one of these 2 coordinates would make the most money. So remember our X was our A. So 5 apples, 15 strawberries, or no apples, 20 strawberries. Okay, so I'm going to plug it in. So I plugged the 5 and the 15 into their spots. Well, let's see how much money that comes out to be. Okay, so the next time I replaced it with a 20 and a 0. And here's my numbers when I calculated them. So which one's going to make the most? This. So that's my answer. I'm going to plant no acres of apples. I'm just going to go 20 acres of strawberries.